Hello and welcome to So Farscape,
a fun-filled Farscape fancast by a fervent fan.
and a frankly fascinated first-timer.
I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay.
And this is the story So Farscape.
And we do start with a... No, wait, don't start away.
We can start however you want, bud.
I mean, we start with a big recap this episode.
Yes.
I mean, you could say that the entire episode is a big recap, but...
Of stuff that we haven't seen before. We're
Fair
in
enough. It's like
Season 4, Episode 17. Okay.
A Constellation of Doubt.
Yep. Let's do it. Let's describe what our beloved listeners have contributed, because everybody knows that we're heading toward the end of Season 4 and they've been coming out in droves.
Oh, goody. Let's see. Don't think too much about how translator microbes work. Grab a bowl of cop porn and pour yourself a glass of toilet water. It's time to watch someone win an Emmy. Thank you, Mark Nixon.
Oh, Mark. Oh, Mark Nixon is wonderful. I really wonder if he rewatched this episode or if he just has this on his brain.
Oh, wow. That would be amazing.
Earth reflects on its week with the aliens by way of found footage, correctly diagnoses John Crichton with PTSD. Thanks, Mysterytour.
Crichton watches a documentary about the crew's time on Earth while he tries to figure out where he has learned the name Katratzi before. Heard the name Katratzi before. We see Noranti making poison for rats to use against people. Dargo tongue smacks Crichton's nephew Bobby. Aeryn explains the peacekeeper life, and Chiana experiments with makeup. Rygel gambles and calls sex hotlines, and Sikozu shows off her beautiful singing talents for Uncharted territories, idol, and Crichton makes an offer to Scorpius that he can't refuse. Wow. Thank you, Nickrude from Katratzi, aka Canada.
You know, I have a suspicion. Okay, so sometimes I make little jokes about how our listeners should do their best more to be obscure in their references. We're way past caring about that.
Fair point. As
we
long as
really
there's no...
appreciate.
I mean, even spoilers are okay at this
Exactly.
point, really. Yeah, because I don't get to see them until after we watch the episodes.
It's all fine.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that the time we just spent reading these may exceed the time we spend on reviewing this episode, because... Okay, it's sort of a clip show, but it's not
very much so. Yeah.
But they're not clips of anything we've seen before.
No,
there's no driving plot. Okay, here I'm going to do it. Here, look.
Prepare the starburst.
So John is sad that Aeryn is gone, and while he's depressed, he watches a bunch of TV. Then he remembers where he heard Katratzi, and he makes a deal with Scorpius.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us for So Far.
Yeah, so much for this week's episode. We'd like to see you next week.
Right? There is no way. Look, our format is fantastic. I'm really, really proud of our format.
But it deals very poorly with this episode.
We can't do this. I have no idea in what order any of these dialogues occurred. I can't look at these gifs and remember what people were talking about.
Well, a little bit, but we can give it a shot. I mean,
okay.
Pretty much, I think it's basically, we'll go through the gifs and we'll basically treat it as one entire long segment of Willies and Woodies.
Oh, that's great.
She gives me a Woody.
She gives you the Willy.
I mean,
this is brilliant.
We can just do that scene by scene, pretty much, and
that
say
scene by scene and just
what we
Willy
liked about this scene and what we didn't like about the scene. But yeah, so
we get a reminder of all the various plot points that are relevant to understand. So they spend some time on Earth. Aaron's been captured.
Cousin Bobby,
erstwhile, now nephew Bobby, has been filming.
Right, yes. There's a difference, isn't there? Yeah.
In English, yes.
Yes.
In Dutch, there's no distinction, except we do gender them, which you can't do with
we do
cousin.
it the opposite way around, yeah. So we have two words for cousin, gendered.
Although, no, you have, in some dialects, you have the opportunity to say omezeggertje.
Right, but
like a little uncle sayer.
Someone who calls me uncle, yes.
Yeah. Which sort of distinguishes it. And that's a sort of driving force, because the somehow Moya has intercepted a transmission from Earth.
Yes, and Pilot was told not to give it to John.
I told Pilot not to let you know he'd intercepted it.
John got hold of it anyway.
Yep, and is watching it on the television that Aeryn got him for Christmas.
Right, that was brought along.
Because that's how that works.
And it is a program called
Alien Visitation.
And I immediately started making rubber glove motions when that...
Yes, I noticed that.
I mean, that's what aliens are renowned for, isn't it? So I'm pretty sure that they picked that name intentionally.
Yeah, Farscape is the way it is. I mean, it's not quite Lex, but hey, this host, R. Wilson Monroe.
R. Wilson Monroe.
I mean, assume they're trying to do something like 60 Minute or whatever.
Right, it's got a Walter Cronkite kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Critical, attentive, opinionated.
Very much so. I was I was constantly going back and forth, like, okay, what are they trying to do? What's the point of the network making the show? Because a lot of the time they're like trying to scaremonger,
Yeah.
and then they're also interspacing it with more tender moments and humanizing the aliens more. So I was really wondering, and then he didn't like, the network calls upon
On the government to release all files.
and I was like, that doesn't work like that.
No, but you can try as a sort of network. I mean, this must be a very serious anchor for whatever network this is. Do you know this? So this is written by David Kemper.
Right.
Wrote this one. David Kemper, the showrunner for Farscape, who has penned some absolute doozies previously. Actually, let me pull up some of his... No, my notes are gone. Goodbye, notes.
Oh, no.
Apparently you don't want to load anymore. Anyway, he's written some good stuff before. This was the longest script ever submitted for Farscape.
Oh, wow.
Other scripts have been submitted. They're usually around 50 to 60 pages.
Yeah.
58 minutes.
I mean,
pages.
that's
is about
kind
the
of
same.
roughly a minute per page. Isn't that like a fairly standard...
Yeah, that's a fairly standard formula. And then you can usually cut down in the edit what is necessary. In this case, it was around 120 pages.
Oy.
And so there's loads and loads and loads of deleted scenes. Do you remember in, I think it was Terra Firma, where I was racking my brain about this scene where Sikozu was talking to Bobby
Right.
that I couldn't find?
And
It's deleted
it's
scene
in
from
this.
this one.
It's in this episode.
Sikozu, what are you reading?
Your planet's history.
What do you think?
Going back dozens of centuries, there is a pattern, and it is appalling. Replete with missed opportunities for meaningful knowledge assimilation and cultural advancement.
We have a saying. Those who don't learn from the past are doomed to repeat it. Is that what you mean?
If you are aware of a problem, why is it not corrected?
I'm only 13. I haven't had my chance yet.
From simple miscalculations to gross ineptitude, savagery and brutality without purpose and with minimal gain.
Well, people fight for land, power, honor, and money. Isn't that the same where you're from?
Where I come from, Bobby, it is very rarely the strong who will attack the weak. The aggressors are those who feel slighted, those who have gone without.
So I imagine that a lot of the editing work was figuring out what would come together as like a watchable, entertaining, cohesive whole.
Show, yeah.
Because, there are all these interviews and commentaries. Oh, did you have a favorite commentary? Like a talking head guy?
I think that would have to be the guy in the Freddy Krueger sweater.
Oh, yeah, the story. He looked like a substitute maths teacher.
Right, yeah.
Glasses, frizzy hair.
He was always so very enthusiastic.
This is a watershed moment in human history, the equivalent of a huge meteor smashing Earth during dinosaur times.
And open-minded about everything. Although, I kind of liked the fake Dalai Lama, although he was just like...
The Buddhist, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, there is an innocence about her that is wonderfully contagious.
The fake Dalai Lama. It's like he was... he was the chairman of the United States Buddhist Society or something.
He?
That's what what he was... that's what his title card said. But,
I wonder if they cast like an actual person from the Indian subcontinent, or just grabbed any random brown person and, hey, can you do an Apu impression?
I know, right? It kind of sounded like that.
It's the early 2000s, so you don't know.
No. And oh god, there was the. I know it's like easy pickings to shoot at religious people going on about grooming and child abuse, but it's like I got a lot of this.
They've got a really uptight, like bishop character there.
Yes.
Outrageous and disgusting. The boy is only 13. Is that what we want our youth exposed to?
Who was really, really judgmental.
Yeah.
Also judgmental, I think, was the psychologist.
Yes,
with the British accent.
Who is also like committed a cardinal sin against psychology. Is like never diagnose someone based on what you see on how you watch them on TV, basically.
Yeah.
Post-traumatic shock syndrome. It's hard to tell without examining him. But from this little snippet of tape, I'm most concerned about his constantly waiting for something to happen. This suggests he's been under enormous and continuous stress.
They must have gone through a lot of psychologists before they found one that would actually...
willing to break with that code, yes. I mean, we got that, I remember, like a lot in the early days of Trump. Like, a lot of people saying like, well, we're I've been asked a lot, like, how would you like diagnose him? And it's like, well, we don't really do that.
No, you can't diagnose a malignant narcissist just based on his appearances
on TV
again and again. Yeah. That's not how you diagnose a malignant narcissist. I also liked Dr. Walker, who goes, wow. It turns out that this guy, this actor, whose name I don't have written down, and the internet is throwing a fit on my phone. This was the first person to play a live-action Spider-Man in the 1970s.
Oh, okay. Is he the one who's just generally super enthusiastic about like the alien view of Earth?
That's him.
Yeah.
You sort of imagine Peter Parker going, wow!
I mean, yes, I did like him as well. He had a very entertaining view, like a very enthusiastic, open-minded. I mean, kind of way I'd expect you to react to aliens. And
wow! I really liked the. I forget what his title was. He was an older fella in a zip-up anorak. He had a bald pate. Mm-hmm. He did one of the better American accents for the Australian crews that were here.
Why is it so hard for us to believe that someone from another planet can do things that we find extraordinary? Isn't she herself extraordinary just by being here?
I thought he was just really delighted by the kind of wonder of space and the vastness of other societies. Mm-hmm. I think that was like I don't know, head of NASA sociology or whatever. But just his really astute observations about the perspectives that these aliens have when viewing Earth, and how like inspiring that is.
Yes.
Imagine. Think of how we view ourselves. A sophisticated culture, growing, evolving. Then look how he views us, undisciplined and adventurous.
But yeah, you get various viewpoints. Like some people are like trying to scaremonger that, and some people are trying to learn from that.
Well, the interview with Aeryn that we start with,
right? Well, both Dargo and Aeryn. Like Dargo is painted like it's General Car Dargo constantly. You know, he's like always.
Pardon me. It's
General Car Dargo.
Car Dargo.
Right. Yes. But both he and Aeryn are trying to, by certain people, constantly trying to paste as like warmongering aliens and like hell-bent on invading Earth. And Aaron's like, we're not interested. Like, no, this is like insignificant. And of course, Rygel's scathing comment is like, I think Earth would be most remembered
for the quality of its manual labor.
It's like, ooh, burn.
I do kind of get it, because this is the duty of journalists to press people in positions of power, positions of significance, to say things that they're not saying.
Right, yes.
And to not permit them not to say them. Like, you are a warrior, you're an alien warrior from an alien army on Earth. You need to answer these questions for her. We're not going to let you dodge this. Because, it's, Mr. Putin, are you going to invade Ukraine? It was a question that was asked like over a year ago. I was like, oh no, we're just practicing, just doing some exercises around the border. Like, don't worry about it. And, okay, pardon me for making light for obviously a horrific humanitarian atrocity that's still ongoing at the time of recording. God, how nice would it be for our friends in Kiev if that was no longer the case by the time of airing?
Oh, that's 1 month usually between recording and airing, but yes.
So
I'm not holding my breath. I can't hold my breath for a month.
I'm sorry, I'm thinking about that joke where, do you know how you have scenes in movies when they're underwater? Do you have that thing where you just hold your breath reflexively?
Yeah, I mean, Finding Nemo almost killed me.
But so, like, asking this question, hey, but you're saying that the peacekeepers would never invade Earth. Well, no, but like if you made an alliance with an enemy or
so it could happen. Like,
but that's true.
Yes.
Right?
I mean,
that's valid information.
Realpolitik, it's like, yes. I mean, would you invade Earth? We don't see any reason why we would. Like, would it never happen? Well, maybe if you made a deal with the Scarran. So it could happen. It's like, well, yes, if you like become an aggressor towards us, then yes, it could happen.
Right, but there are therefore potentially also other circumstances that to Aeryn or just politically aware aliens in general seem perfectly reasonable that we are not aware of. We weren't aware of other polities, of Earth. we don't know what it is that you have to do or not do in order to not be invaded. Right?
Fair.
We're part of that political system. But I also like, of course, her perspective. Yeah, there's millions of planets that nobody cares about.
Yeah, Earth is probably one of them. Like, well, I mean, Earth has John Crichton, who has wormhole knowledge, which makes Earth a little bit more special than others. But
and who
that's
knows?
about
Like,
it.
maybe Earth's soil is hospitable to a particular plant that is very important to one of these superpowers.
Chakan oil growth,
yeah,
for instance. Yeah. Could be.
And then we'll just enslave this planet, and it'll be, thank God it's Friday. That could happen to Earth.
Tomorrow is a rest day. A real rest day.
We are not succeeding in our intention. Like, your plan, I don't know that it's necessarily worked.
No, we'll see. I mean, we can just natter on about the episode until we call it a day. So, let's have a go. So it starts with John and Rygel watching that, and Rygel's kind of lamenting that, like, oh, you shouldn't have been watching this, and which implies that Rygel has already watched it himself. And basically, Rygel gets kicked out of John's room. He gets a bucket of popcorn thrown on him like he's like at a Bulls game.
Which caused the puppeteer, Nicholas something, like quite a conniption, because suddenly the puppet's mouth wouldn't close anymore because there was popcorn stuck in it, and he was hearing these servos whirring quite upsettingly, so he sort of turned around and waddled off, so he could essentially puke out all this popcorn that was damaging the puppet.
Oh dear, yes. Because, John is obsessing a little bit over this show that he's watching, and it's like a little bit unclear why at first.
Yeah,
I mean, not even just at first. I mean, he's pining for Aeryn.
Yep.
Which is very obvious because, like, one of the first things he goes on about is, like, talks to Sikozu. Sikozu is like, are you looking for it? Are you looking? Look harder. Look in other places. Look in places you haven't looked before. He's being extremely unhelpful in his suggestions. It's just like, make it happen. Find it. Because he is convinced that he has heard the name of the planet which escapes me.
Katratzi?
Katratzi, that's the one. I'm going to write that down because that's going to come up a few more times during this episode. It reminds me of something else, and if I'm going to get that wrong, and so I'm going to write it down.
With a K?
Katratzi. It's fine, I'll just write it down phonetically,
okay.
and it'll be good. So, Katratzi, yes.
That coupled with your admitted dyslexia and your disfondness for names make me really interested in what you've just written down.
I probably got it right, actually. I mean, like, it's right up here.
That is completely correct. K, 100 bonus points. I don't even know if I'm going to, like, remember to add those points, but that's amazing. Maybe you've heard the word Katratzi before. Maybe it's stuck in your brain.
Well, clearly we have, because we actually are shown the clip later on in which he has heard it.
Yeah.
Katratzi.
Which was during the body swap episode. I mean, it wasn't the body swap. It was the alternate reality episode.
Unrealized realities,
right,
yes, very good.
That's the one. When it was Sikozu as, what's his face? The half Stark, who just stood there going, Katratzi, Katratzi. Or something.
Yeah, that was the scene where the sort of body swapped members of Moya were about to be boarded by the peacekeepers. And Stark, played by Sikozu, asked John to shoot her so that she could, transcend, and she could maybe, like, find help and escape. And, like, the thing that she mumbled as she was preparing for the transition to energy-only life was Katratzi. I think maybe mirroring the secret that Stark was keeping, if you'll remember.
The memory of a place I saw when I was a boy.
That was the memory that he was protecting in the Aurora chair.
So that could have been Katratzi.
Or maybe just an equivalent.
Yeah.
I think that's also what he shared with Talon John when he lay dying.
Okay.
So was being comforted. Yeah, there's a lot of connections in this show, right? Like, I'm trying to simulate the unending speculation and the threads and threads on forums and Usenets.
Oh, about what everybody was thinking and what everybody was saying and doing. Yes, very good. That only comes up much later when John sees Sikozu half covering her face with a shiny metal bowl or something on one of the videos. But
singing a lovely song, and that sort of unlocks it.
Yeah.
Because earlier on, he even had with Chi. No, you heard it too. You heard it with me.
I wasn't a questioner. You heard it with me.
Only from Sikozu.
No. With me.
No.
So it's almost like what he's doing, we think at first he's pining for Aeryn, and in his helplessness, he's distracting himself by watching this stuff.
Yes, is that okay? I wouldn't.
At first, that's what we feel, because other people have to look for Katratzi. You know, he's tasked Sikozu to do it, and Pilot to do it, and he's like run out of things that he can do. So we think that he's just moping. I thought that, right?
Okay, I got the feeling he was looking for something in the episode. I got that almost immediately.
Oh, very good.
That he was looking for something in the footage, because he keeps stopping and rewinding and looking at little bits again, trying to. Later it turns out trying to jog his memory into what it was that he was trying to remember. Yes,
the tree of his brain.
Yeah, because we get several shots of Aeryn saying Katratzi.
Yes,
and that's
Officer Sun.
I believe Katratzi to be some sort of base, highly guarded.
Officer Sun.
Yes, I was just thinking, well...
That's the one I wanted to ask you about. What do you make of this weird shot where Aeryn turns to the camera and says that Katratzi is probably a secret base because Grazer wouldn't have been taken to anything less than maximum security?
Right, yes. I can't remember if we've actually seen that clip in an episode. But it sounds more like, the kind of thing like Grazer when was Grazer taken away?
That was the last episode, actually, bringing home the beacon.
Right.
When Aeryn and Sikozu and Chiana and Noranti, when all the girls came upon this meeting between the Scarans and the peacekeepers.
Oh, right, yes, of course. Yes.
And the Scarans were going to kidnap Grazer. They found her in that pod, but rescued her, took her prisoner, she escaped. And then instead, Aeryn was put in a box, as John said.
Yes, so Aeryn would have known about a Scaran secret base where they take prisoners.
Arguable?
I mean, yes. I mean, that's what, because my thoughts were going to her time as a time away from Moya, as an assassin and a. Like maybe she was like, still don't know who she was assassinating for, or even who was being assassinated.
We know at least one.
But that's where my thoughts went. Like it's like something that she'd been doing during that time, which might have gotten,
her summer holiday,
might have gotten her in touch with these forces.
Well, unfortunately, she is the one person that John can't ask.
Yes, because she's gone missing.
We're introduced to cousin/nephew Bobby.
Yes.
This little apple-cheeked, all-Australian... Like, he's such a sweet boy.
Right. And I'm sitting there like, why on earth would his parents give permission for him to get on the show?
Yeah.
And be interviewed like this? Why?
Well, Wilson Monroe asks the questions. Well, we thought
about it for a long time, and with all these weird accusations starting to surface, we decided that it was best to help everyone not be afraid.
We wanted the other side to be seen, which I guess it's like any time that we see interviews with like Olivia, she emphasizes the normality of these people.
Right, she's one of the talking heads in the and that's his sister. Yeah,
one of John's sisters.
Right,
he has another sister, but I don't think she's featured.
Right. Okay, so that's basically Bobby's mother.
Oh, I don't actually know that.
I mean, it'd have to be.
Nephew. That is the child of your sibling.
Yes.
Well, he does have another sister.
Right.
Maybe off screen. I don't know. Olivia doesn't seem to treat Bobby like
a mother. Kid,
I mean,
as a mother would. Yeah.
It's totally possible, but I got like cool aunt vibes from from Olivia. I don't know. Also, maybe things are different in Australia, where this was clearly filmed and everybody...
Florida. They keep saying Florida.
Yeah, they sure do try, don't they? Except, I don't even think that R. Wilson Monroe tries very hard. He goes all over the place.
It has now been several months since they left with Commander John Crichton aboard their ship Moya. And besides their names, what else do we really know about them? Precious little, except the carefully orchestrated appearances allowed by our government.
Oh, with his accent, you mean?
Yeah. It goes very sort of like the transatlantic accent, the combination British-American that was invented by Hollywood in the 1930s, and then also trans-Pacific. And
yes. Well, we do have several people mention that they went to Florida, and this was all taking place in Florida.
Oh, there was a bit in South America. Apparently, some of the aliens toured South America, and I was there.
That's basically in the Noranti segment when they're going on about like her spirituality and like, and she is like,
Every planet has its indigenous potions just waiting to be blended and discovered. I'm playing.
I'm making rat poison.
Yes.
She says, no, the rats asked me to make poison for the humans.
Yeah. And the rats, the little scene with Chi and the dead rat. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
So what happened? Like, is that... I got a little bit of double vibes for that. Like, if maybe she accidentally killed the rat, or if she found the rat dead after it having been a friend. Like, I didn't quite get
there's
how
a
that
bit of dialogue.
It's okay. Is that a dead rat? He was my friend. We were just playing. He just stopped outside the kitchen to eat something and just... It's okay.
So she says, like, we were just playing, and then the rat went into the kitchen for something to eat.
Oh, so it did get the rat poison then.
Just by accident.
Yeah.
Well, the rat got the human poison for that the rats were going to, or whatever the case. But which was very sort of sad. Like, it
was.
I really liked that Chiana said he was my friend.
Yes.
Not pet or whatever.
Okay, so a little bit more about Noranti. What else does... maybe we can do this by character, because that, we've kind of touched that on that as well.
Yes, good one.
So,
Noranti. She dyed her hair.
Oh, she did. Oh, I didn't catch that.
So she gets, I think, 2 scenes. One of them where she's making the rat poison.
Mm-hmm.
She's just come back from South America, and she's very cryptic. And then she has her hair... I think it's sort of like the disguise hair that she had in Bringing Home the Beacon.
Right.
It's all brown and slicked back, and she's got these cool grey patterns around the side. And then her hair's grey and wild again when she's at the pool.
Yeah.
Talking about religion.
That's the next one, yes. Like, your religions are weird. It's like you kill people and...
She starts by asking questions.
Yes.
All right, so how do you define religion? Okay, it's a way to get on, and then you...
Believe in a higher being.
Yep, okay. Hypocritical.
Yes.
Because I've read all of your books, and she's got like a crucifix there. She holds them up like they're just full of atrocities.
Yes.
Okay, so what's your position? No, it's killing is actually fine circumstantially.
Right.
Like it becomes hypocritical when you make judgments and allowances.
If we take it to Christianity, the whole "thou shalt not kill" is pretty much...
Thou shalt not murder.
Exactly. That's like an accepted mistranslation at this point that, like, I've probably done intentionally, that it should be "thou shalt not murder," not thou shalt not kill.
Exactly.
Apparently Hebrew has 2 very distinct words for that, and it was probably deliberately mistranslated.
Yeah.
In, I think, originally the King James, but who knows? But it should
I'm sure
be,
there are scholars who know better, and
yes.
we respect everyone's opinion, and we do not argue with anyone, and we do not welcome discussion because down that path too much algorithmic activity lies, and we like to keep it light on this show. Apologies.
We always do. So yes,
but one of the talking heads, one of them who's actually quite cruel and judgmental toward Noranti, I think it's a woman.
This is a dangerous woman. She effortlessly twists a simple logic into something that is almost believable. Until you look deeper and it unravels.
And she's right. Because I think Noranti is full of shit. This idea of, like, killing's okay sometimes but not other times, and becomes hypocritical when you make judgments sometimes and allowances otherwise. Hold on. What are you saying? So is killing always allowed, or should there be a system of rules? And if there's a system of rules and judgments... then what's wrong with having those codified in a religious text or a legal
I kind of read that woman the other way around. That like she was the one, she was being the hypocritical one. But I'd have to we don't exactly know what she's specifically referring to about what Noranti says.
It's fascinating, right?
Yeah.
I was riveted by this episode. I was just going, how are we ever going to talk about this?
Yeah, well, like this apparently. I thought it was going to be a short one, but it might be a long one. I always love the comment of the guy, like
we're fairly certain we know how she cured the blind boy in Brazil.
That was David Kemper. That was actual writer and showrunner David Kemper, like Mr. X. You know, his face was in darkness.
Right.
We think we sort of understand, maybe.
So yes,
it's nice to think that there are such sort of universal properties of ecosystems that a woman with her knowledge, I mean, she's 300 and something cycles old already,
right,
would be able to just waltz onto a completely unfamiliar food chain.
I know that makes it seem both improbable. I like improbable better.
I don't get too.
But also it shows her abilities and talents, I guess, when she's like, I mean, she just goes around tasting everything.
Yeah,
and then she
which
goes
is
like,
huge.
Yeah, and then, this does this and that. I mean, maybe she just has like incredibly keen olfactory senses, but also producing things, but also producing things which work universally. Because like right towards the end, Chiana has some sleeping powder which Noranti made for John, and Rygel goes like, no, give it to me, and she's off. And you're like, why would sleeping powder that works on humans also work on Hynerians?
Wait, no, wasn't he going to give it to John?
No, Chiana actually picks something up and blows it into Rygel's face.
Oh. Oh. Well, I guess, like, Dargo mentions that his tongue has adaptive venom.
Right.
So that
the victim takes in only enough to lose consciousness. No one dies.
Which he explains to Bobby.
I know. So yes, next Dargo. Because I love the interactions that he has with Bobby. Because like Bobby is constantly probing and trying to get Dargo to tell him more about his like being a great general and a warrior. And Dargo is being very, I wouldn't say dismissive, but like disencouraging. Like what's the opposite for discouraging?
Discouraging
towards him.
But we've seen that he gets on, like when he's been on Earth for a while, he just makes friends with local kids.
Oh yeah,
right. He's just cool with people.
Mm-hmm.
Adults are a little put off. Children are a lot easier with people who look different from them if they're not told specifically otherwise. And he's a dad himself.
Oh yes.
So he's just got this avuncular neighborhood uncle vibe about him when he's speaking with kids. Actually, Chiana, in her way, has that as well.
Yes.
Quite open with them in a way that a lot of Western acculturated adults wouldn't be. While also sort of trying to maintain boundaries.
Bobby's constantly trying to like tell him about like cool warrior shit. Like he takes him a Waterloo La and like, oh, can you kill things with this? And
that's what it's for.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and he ends up showing him a recording of him destroying the other Leviathan.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, it just disappeared. Yeah, that's kind of what this ship does.
Yeah.
But I really love that scene where Bobby finally talks him into like giving him a tongue lashing.
Please.
No.
Why not?
For the same reasons that I've been saying to you ad nauseum. Why is it so important?
Because I like stuff like that. It's cool. Tell me it's not cool.
It's cool. Cool. All right. Now you promise not to tell anyone.
I promise.
Okay. All right. Turn the camera off.
Okay. It's off.
All right, you ready?
And then Dargo does it, like asks for the camera to be turned off, and then after he's done it...
Noranti.
Oh, wait,
crap.
Hold on, what did I just do?
Where's Noranti?
Noranti?
Yeah.
Like, this is a testament to Bobby's, like, skill at convincing adults to do cool stuff, because the spell is only broken when he's unconscious and Dargo realizes, what did I let this kid talk me into doing? Oh, Frel, I did it again. Sorry.
Yeah, I love that scene. That was hilarious. But yeah, a lot of times...
And the judgment, of course, from the talking heads, we cannot let them running around. Exposing them to our youth.
Yes. Again, from the priest, which is like...
He has a great observation. Like, I've watched a bunch of your movies, he says.
Uh-huh.
The aliens are always evil, and Earth always is victorious.
Oh, so you say we should learn that there are nice aliens too?
You should learn that you don't always win. Yeah. Yes.
Really, really powerful. I mean, I wonder if that's like... He's talked about the history of his species, which I believe is a multiplanetary culture. They talk about the wealthy Luxon worlds.
Right, yes. Again, last episode, when they were going to be traded with the Scarans in the treaty.
Yeah. Unilaterally breaking the Mutual Defense Pact.
Yeah.
And in the past, they had been invaded by an enemy that I don't know was necessarily named, but they'd exhausted all their weapons except for the ancient Qualter blades.
Yes.
Which...
I always assumed that was the peacekeepers, but...
Huh.
That they were fighting when that came.
Well, they have other adversaries as well, like they have bonds of mutual defense.
But it can't be the peacekeepers if they had like a mutual defense pact with the peacekeepers.
Well, that had been recently signed by Grazer, and this invasion was, I think, thousands or hundreds of cycles ago.
Okay, yeah. Fair enough.
I mean, he even talks about how Earth reminds him of his planet 10,000 cycles ago.
Well, I mean, was he there? No, he wasn't. He's only like 30.
You are but a boy.
They might have holograms or
fair,
right, recreations or paintings.
Yeah, and there was, of course, the historical reenactment society scenes which you get in the holographic worlds.
Oh, well, and also the sort of time goggles.
Right, that's
on
the one.
That particular episode.
That was the one that I was talking about. Yes,
straight up, just looking through time.
Yep,
no problem. Just and no tour guides either. You just have this equipment and you just look through time.
Go for it. Yeah.
Yikes.
Okay, but let's use Bobby to segue into like John a little bit here, because like there's like this scene where Bobby is like, I mean, he's constantly walking around with his camera, recording everything. When he's talking to John, it's like, okay, like, how do you think that like things changed? Like, has Earth changed?
When you got back, what was most different about Earth?
Nothing, Bobby. Earth's pretty much the same.
Are you different?
Yeah, I'm different.
How?
Things that used to bother me don't bother me that much anymore. The world seems smaller.
You can see him sitting there like, well, yeah, you know, getting tortured and like turned into a stone pillar and stuff like that. It changes a person.
Yeah.
But he doesn't say anything of that. So
no, there is a line that he says that the psychologists, I think,
yeah, I mean, at that point, like goes like, oh, yeah, he's got PTSD.
Because he's talking about he's constantly expecting something bad to happen.
I have to remind myself when it doesn't happen that that's normal.
Which is indeed like an experience described by people who have. I mean, she calls it post-traumatic shock. I think the accepted terminology is post-traumatic stress disorder at the time, and it's something that I've heard people report. And Bobby asks him like, what was the worst part?
Missing family.
No,
Missing
the complete
people?
lack of toilet paper is the first thing.
Well, that's facetious. He says that facetiously.
Is it?
I think so.
Is it fecal facetious? How do you spell facetious?
Fair enough. I'm pretty sure it's facetious. It's pronounced facetious, no matter how you spell it.
I'm okay. No, I'm skating very close to our solemn promise to never discuss the toiletry situation on Moya.
No.
Oh, speaking of toilets.
Oh,
Chiana.
Oh yes. I thought you were going to go Galaxy Quest, but
Chiana in the bathroom.
Yes, after she's like amazed by the amount of water outlets which are everywhere. Like you know,
one two toilets, shower,
which one of them is
bath,
probably a bidet,
sink.
but
is that a feature in Australian homes? There might have been multiple toilets in the same house.
Oh, because I know that Crocodile Dundee makes a joke about it, where he asks like, "Where's there two toilets in the?" bathroom, and she goes like, "Oh, you'll figure it out," and then he ends up like shouting it down from the hotel room, from the window in the hotel room. But
I think he washes his shoes in one.
He tries. No, he tries to see if it fits, and it doesn't particularly work very well. But yes.
Well, maybe we shouldn't take too much inspiration from
fair
Crocodile Dundee about modern Australian culture.
Fair.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. But yes, and like and there's like the shower, and then there's the bathtub, and then there's the sink, and it's like, why? Like you can wash up in the toilet. It's water's clean.
Yeah. It's fine, and she's got all this like makeup over her hair, and like what's this one for?
That's for your lips, and then she eats it. And that's all right.
And the last thing she asks is, "Why are there so many colors?"
Which is kind of
yeah. Why bother with colors when shades will do?
I was going to say, that says a lot about the Nabari society and culture, I suppose. Like
if you think maybe you observed when she was in her bikini, and you could see that like her cleavage, her décolletage, also had the sort of darkening around her collarbones and her cheekbones. Do you think that's makeup that she wears?
No,
right?
I don't think. I think that's meant to make the character look good.
That's what makeup does,
right? I mean, that's what Gigi Edgley said. Like she loved about like being made up as Chiana. It's like I've got cheekbones and boobs. You know, it's
okay. In Gigi Edgley's, I'm coming to her rescue. I'm being one of those internet white knights.
Yeah.
She was talking about that was the time when she had cheekbones and boobs. I think she was talking about it as a mature woman now, like looking at her younger, because she was like 18 when she started.
I thought she was like commenting on the fact that she like the makeup gave her that.
I have seen photographs, publicity photographs of Gigi Edgley. I'm not talking about any, but you know, she was an acrobat who I believe I once called a trapezoid because I
Yes.
couldn't out the fucking word. But no, she had cheekbones and boobs, and like during that live stream, I forget when it was, like I said to her, "Hey, Miss Edgley, some of us have had to go our entire lives without cheekbones and boobs, and we're doing okay as well. So you know, show us."
Okay, so I interpret that as like she found her features enhanced by the makeup as Chiana.
Hey, hell yeah, it's an amazing
Absolutely.
look.
Yes, no, totally.
I've seen some cosplayers who do it as well, and it's just this. You're making yourself into a live action sort of aha drawing, you know, from the video clip Take On Me, which I realize everyone in our generation probably understands that immediately and sort of fades out there.
It's a famous song. Older people might think of it as old people music at this point, but
there's a few more conversations with John, sticking with him for a bit, because I really dig your idea to stick with the characters. At one point, Bobby is spying on John and Olivia on Moya. Apparently, she made it up there.
I guess at some point everybody got a tour, at least the close family.
Yeah, because they've been there for weeks or months.
Yeah, it's kind of left in the dark how long entirely, but something in that order of magnitude. Definitely more than a week or two.
And they talk about his attraction to Aeryn.
Yes.
And she does the sister thing. Like, I actually know you, John.
Yeah.
Aeryn. Stop that.
Remember when you tried to hide that crush on Jill? What was
Stop
her name?
it. Steiner. Her name was Steiner. What's my tell?
Your lips. When you see Aeryn, they soften just a bit.
And your denial is...
You've got to tell, and it's...
Yep, and so does she. Right? She's an emotionally experienced and empathetic woman who, okay, even though it's maybe a little risky to interpret the body language of people of different cultures, let alone species.
Yeah.
Yeah, you make the guesses that you can make. And as someone's sibling, you make statements that are a bit bolder than they really ought to be because she's his older sister, right? She's got that vibe.
Yes. And of course, this leads to another interview with Aeryn, where again she's being pressed on a certain matter. In this case, the interoperability between...
Interoperability! Between the various Mivonks in space.
Yes.
And, within certain boundaries, genetic compatibility.
Yeah, is it possible that like aliens can interbreed? And yes, definitely. She immediately, yes, definitely possible. And like, so could it be between humans and Sebastians? And then there's a long pause and exacerbated by John also pressing pause. Mm-hmm. Because he's looking. This is one of the moments where he's trying to remember what Aeryn said.
Yes, that's right.
But she's pressed on like, could humans and Sebastians interbreed? And
she's lucky that she didn't say, well, I know for sure that Sebastians and Luxons can interbreed.
Yeah.
And then, like, not mentioning that because she knows Jothi is the product, and then the assumptions that would have been made about that, considering the Luxon company that she keeps.
But yes, I mean, we still don't know if John is the father of her unborn child.
Yeah, I mean, she's said so, but...
I mean, she said so that she doesn't know, right?
Oh, hasn't she?
Yeah, because, like, she could have been... I mean, they have the delayed pregnancy thing.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And it could have been that dude she recreated was 3 years ago.
I'm trying to figure out whether I do my reverse poker face first and then the poker face, or the poker face first and then the reverse poker face, or then two reverse poker faces, or whether I do
double
my eyebrows
bluff,
like this.
Is it the double bluff? It's like
well, okay.
But am I
Apparently,
really?
I'm not getting anything past you today, am I? Or am I?
Or are you? I'm deliberately not trying to second guess anything you say. So
I appreciate that, buddy,
like...
because... I mean, this must be, you know, we're heading toward the end of the season. Like, the number of real surprises are kind of
it's becoming more of a, like, oh, see this how it fits in with that. And that's why I, like, appreciate what you did a little bit earlier on. It's like lay out these little details which probably escape me by now. And, like, stuff that, like, was figured out by the community at this point. Because, like, well, in this episode they say this, and in that episode they say that. And if I say something that's factually incorrect, then I appreciate that I'm corrected on it.
Because I want you to have the...
Yeah, my memory is notoriously bad.
But your observations are astonishingly good. Like, the number of things that you've caught on to have, like, consistently surprised me.
Oh.
if you'd been part of the sort of scaper community at this time, you would have been an absolute sage, I imagine, up there with a sad geezer, I think he was called.
Okay, that's an interesting name moniker to choose for oneself.
Well, it's a person, or by now it's a brand, who ran, I think it's still operating, like a pretty expansive sci-fi website, Sad Geezer's Guide to Sci-Fi. Like I found it because of Lex, but this person, I'm assuming him, did lots of other sci-fi programs at the time, and with a very sort of fun-loving, irreverent style that's never cruel, which I appreciate.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yes.
So yeah, John is an interesting one, and everybody observes that he's been changed by what he's gone through. And,
well, yes.
Oh, I did like the faux Dalai Lama. Can we make a pun of that?
I mean, pho is Vietnamese, not Nepalese, so it's pho.
It's pho.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to say the pho Dalai Lama. Oh, what if the... Oh.
I mean, he was like...
The Dalai alpaca.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah, I get it. The Dalai alpaca.
Like, his eyes just light up at the idea, oh, but this is wonderful.
Oh, one can only hope that a union between those of Earth and elsewhere is possible. Such marriages will foster bonds of family and generate trust between disparate peoples.
Like... love and togetherness reaching across these divides, and these marriages creating families, bonds of trust and unity.
And that's going to bind humans to the rest of the universe. That's
and
going
enable us to trust one another.
Yes.
Because we share children, we share family. Which is kind of like a mechanistic, political way to look at something as important as...
True. But it's also true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, they are really valuable mechanisms. Well, unfortunately, we've recently seen with Macton Tal that they don't necessarily always work.
That, yeah.
I think there's one more scene with Chiana.
Yes.
That's really worth talking about, which I think was handled really well. And it's like Chiana is just dancing.
Oh, right, yes.
And she's going drive and reverse, like practicing those few English words she still remembers.
Yes, like lottery tickets and like flossing and like... It's like dance moves.
Yes. No, I know that they're supposed to be dance moves, but it's a very post-millennial kind of dancing.
I know, right.
She asks Bobby about sex.
Yes.
Bobby, what do you think of sex?
What?
Sex.
Why are you asking me?
Oh, just curious.
And like, what's sex like to humans? What do you kind of...
And he's like, well, I wouldn't know. I haven't had it yet. I was like, what? Why not? It's like 13. It's like, oh, so? That's...
You're not allowed to? No, it's against the law.
What?
That's the law's about.
Why are all those girls dressed like that? Which is like, yes.
Yeah.
Now we're hitting on something.
Very daring for the early 2000s. And kind of for good reason, I think. Why are they dressed like that? Which is honestly like a little bit judgmental. About like dressing slutty as a concept.
Right.
Right? Where one accentuates aspects of one's body that are considered culturally desirable.
Right.
And Bobby observes what they see it on TV. And Chiana says, well, somebody sells them those clothes. So
right.
Somebody wants them to have sex.
Exactly. But I don't see that as judgmental in Chiana's viewpoint. I mean, she's going like, if they're dressed like they want to have sex, she's perfectly fine with that. What she doesn't understand is like, why are they allowed to do it, and why are people making it interesting for them? I mean, like, Nabari come from a really regimental society.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
So that's like, to her, that would make no sense whatsoever. It's like, why are they allowed to dress like that if they're not supposed to have sex? Like, that wouldn't help.
Yeah, if you have this rule, then you just forbid it.
Right. And then you'd
be consistent about it.
Exactly.
Yes. Oh, wow. Because that's how the Nabari establishment does.
Right.
And if you don't have a rule, then you just do whatever and it's fine.
So that, from Chiana's viewpoint, it makes perfectly sense to ask these questions and frame it like that. Like, why are they dressed slutty if they're not supposed to have sex?
And different
that makes total
species
sense. Yeah.
Mature at different rates.
That too, yes.
You know, John lost his virginity at 16 to Karen Shaw.
Right, yes.
And Dargo was 6.
7, I think.
I was 7.
Well,
it's a leap year.
Whatever. I mean, whatever is biologically and societally acceptable.
Oh, now I'm thinking about it. They do talk about that Luxons aren't allowed to marry young, and he's still considered a young Luxon even at 30 cycles.
At least by a By Zahn.
By a Delvian.
By Delvian, that's the word I was
I
looking
think
for,
we've
yes.
gotten to the point where she knows Luxons well enough to...
Oh, absolutely, yes.
So, like, sexual activity is apparently normal way before marriage and raising a family and reproduction.
Yes.
Those are for adults. But sex is... Like, one of the sort of plainest definitions that you can give of sex is, like, an activity that people voluntarily do with their bodies and each other for procreation...
Recreating.
Yes, pleasure.
But
for all
yeah,
those purposes.
Again, we get to like the talking heads. Like the Dalai Lama is delighted by this, and the
bishop.
The bishop is like,
we must protect our youths from these influences.
And other people are much more level-headed about it. We're like, well, she's not hitting on him.
I'm not a psychologist, but that's rather innocent. I mean, you get more juice from Dawson's Creek.
Right, yes.
A very, very 2000s cultural
I'm
reference
aware
there.
of the existence of Dawson's Creek. I haven't got the foggiest of what it is.
Same. It's something with teenagers. I think there's
okay.
a blonde kid
is it
who
like,
maybe Dutch.
Is
or
it
has
like
Dutch
Little
name?
House on the Prairie, except not in the prairie? I don't know. I have
You know
no
what?
idea.
I'm going to enrich your life, and I'm going to say yeah. When you think of Dawson's Creek, the next time someone talks about Dawson's Creek, I want you to imagine Little House on the Prairie.
Okay.
It'll be great for you.
I've not seen any of that either, but...
Good night, John Boy. Oh, you don't know to say good night, Mary Jo? Okay,
No.
well...
Like I said, no. Completely outside my... I mean, again, I'm aware of its existence, but only through references.
Yeah.
Cultural osmosis.
I love that her perspective is viewed as, it is completely sensible and internally consistent.
Yeah.
Right? This is someone who asks questions, who thinks about them, and she's deliberately not applying her own cultural mores. She's curious about the difference between local customs and what she's used to.
I mean, that seems like the reasonable approach when you're an alien.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
when there are so many...
you are an alien somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Which most people are in the universe. In like everybody who does a little bit of traveling around has been the alien somewhere else. And not to make fun of Americans too much, but like there was this like photo taken in a airport the other day. This is like we're back to an old thing we used to do on our previous shows, like Kay and Kaka describe the internet.
Describe memes on the internet. Da, 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 da.
But yes, it basically was a picture of a sign at an airport which said foreign passports and an arrow, and then it had specifically had the US flag next to it as well.
Oh, yes. Just about, hey, you're foreign now, guys.
Yes.
We know you're not used to it.
Anyway.
I think we've had all the major characters, because I think Sikozu, her interview was cut, where she talks about, like, capitalism.
Oh,
pretty intensely.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll just pop it in here again. Why not?
Sure.
Where I come from, Bobby, it is very rarely the strong who will attack the weak. The aggressors are those who feel slighted, those who have gone without.
But how do you stop that?
You simply redistribute resources so everyone's needs are accounted for.
Communism.
Ah, Marx. I have read your Marx. Your application was accompanied by oppression and isolation. No chance of success.
I heard you guys weren't so perfect either. You fight wars. Big wars.
But never against ourselves, Bobby. An enlightened planet is a unified planet. And I've read your history, and I have not found anything to indicate any hope of future change.
Uncle John says your people were enslaved by some really bad dudes.
Your point?
Don't take it out on us. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Seeing the world as narrowly as you do through this little lens, young one, I will forgive you your lack of understanding. Allow me to be clearer. The political complications that may arise from a simple wormhole floating in your atmosphere will devastate a planet that is still in the throes of intra-species chaos.
What did you think?
Oh, amazing. Very insightful.
I will send it to you, Kay. Don't worry. So, yeah, that program is very depressing to everyone who watches it.
Yes.
Because the total picture that they get is, wow, Earth was not changed in any
and they
good way.
keep discouraging John from watching it. Like, you're watching too much TV. It's like, stop it. Like, Dargo tries to put a football game on, but John's already seen it, so he knows what the score is and how it ends. Coming towards the end of the episode, it starts focusing a little bit more on what's happening on Moya. Because it's like you said, it's been a clip show, and there's been little interactions, mostly John getting more and more desperate. And I mean, I like that moment that Chiana had with Rygel, where they were having a little together, and everybody's kind of concerned about John, and who's been really working Sikozu very hard. He's been very unfair towards her about her managing the expectations. No, I've asked around. I've asked harder. I was like, no, I've listened to all the frequencies. I've asked everybody who knows. Nobody knows what Katratzi is.
Well, he's doing, I think we find out, something that he's done before, which is extremely displacing memories and frustrations.
Right.
Because I think that he has an echo of a memory that he heard Sikozu say it, right?
Yes.
That this has a memory that he can't access, but it leaves him with the idea Sikozu knows where Katratzi is.
Yes.
And this Sikozu, who turns out to be a completely different Sikozu, is not telling me.
Yes.
And that's driving him to anger, to the point where, once again, he pulls a gun on one of his allies.
Yep.
Which...
yeah.
I mean, some people wonder why Sikozu was added to the cast of Farscape when she's just antagonistic to everyone. Well, maybe she'd have had an easier time integrating if people stopped pointing guns at her all the time.
I know, right? It seems fine. I mean, even Chiana goes talk to her and are you looking? And well, I've done looking hours ago. It's there's nothing more to look.
Yeah.
And even Chiana goes well, can't you look a little bit more? And she goes, be my guest, your turn.
Yeah.
I've been done for arms. Pilot has double-checked. No one has heard of it. No one.
Well, they must be lying.
No, Chiana, they're not lying.
How can you tell if they're not lying? You can't tell when I'm lying.
Yes, we can. We all can.
How?
You open your mouth and words come out of it.
Don't you lie to Crichton.
Oh, yes. Other scene we still have to talk about is John talking to Pilot and going hey, can you fly me back to the wormhole?
Once he's gotten the sort of realization that, oh, wow, it was one of these unrealized realities.
Yeah.
I've got to get back there.
Is that what it... Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't realized that.
Oh, what were you thinking?
No, that's what I was wondering. Why are we going to Earth? But it makes sense because, Pilot tells him, well,
I need not remind you that Moya's now phobic regarding wormholes.
All right. And he's like, oh,
and
well.
Dargo says, there's no point in going back to Earth.
And he's like, I'm not going back to Earth. And I caught that line, but now I understand it. I had that... It escaped me that, yes, he's trying to get back into that unrealized reality.
Where there is someone who knows where Katratzi is.
Yes. Oh, wow, yeah.
Wow.
See, wormhole power.
Yeah, I know. And
right? It's not just about being able to go anywhere. You can also gain knowledge that...
That's dangerous, though. Going to an unrealized reality and then having to jump back out of that and hope that the information carries over. Oh, yeah. Okay, final segments are the goodbye from the show host, who is makes his call out to the government to release the information. Oh, about the aliens having been there before, namely in 1985.
Yes. The sheriff.
Where the sheriff gets brought on.
Sheriff isn't.
Former sheriff.
Still sheriff. Always sheriff. No alien's going to run me off my job.
Okay, sheriff.
Who has gone full tinfoil hat.
Tinfoil baseball cap.
Well, it's like a tinfoil lined baseball cap, which I think is very clever because, yes, brain chips and the government, this stops the signal, and he's made a very good likeness of Rygel from what looks like a pumpkin and maybe some...
I think that's still the original pumpkin, the one that Rygel carved when he was super on sugar.
Well, the one that Rygel carved had a
Scorpius
face in it.
I thought this was that.
No, because this one's made to look like Rygel. He's got he's got the earbrows and everything. So this is him.
It's all grey and rotted.
Well, Rygel is kind of greyish, but...
Oh, okay.
But no, it's this one's not carved. It's just made to look like Rygel. So, yes.
And you spent...
A portion of the last 18 years in an institution, have you not?
Most of it, so what?
Well, maybe.
The majority of it. I'm fine now. Look at me. Lean.
Oh, yes, because aliens because Rygel talks about what he loves about Earth, and it's
sugar.
Oh, sugar. It's you don't have sugar, yes, but we use this as poison.
Wow.
Yes. I'm wondering in what quantities we're talking about that then.
Yeah.
It's he's I mean,
they've got dentics.
I don't
so
know,
what
right?
harm could it be doing? Okay, good.
Anyway,
Who knows?
yes.
Oh, that poor sheriff, though.
Yes.
He describes that it had, the tentacled one, Share.
Share?
Yes. When you said that, that's why you came. I mean,
I love Aeryn as Share.
yeah, she does look very good. But
That's
yes,
why that scene was in the previously on as well.
Yes, but Rygel, yes, I love him when he's doing he's mostly filmed eating. He loves everything.
His favorite thing to do.
Waffles and fat and
grease and it's great. He sort of reminds me of the Master from Doctor Who in one of those Christmas episodes where his body was always dying and he was eating and fat and grease and carbs and
in this case,
nutrients.
that the sheriff has taken off that the aliens are trying to fatten the human race so that they're not fit to fight when the eventual invasion comes.
It's that simple. So look at me, lean, undefeatable,
fat-free. And we go to John, who goes to see Scorpius, who is lying on his bed slab or whatever it is. It looks particularly uncomfortable, but yeah.
It's Scorpius' style.
And he's just kind of snoozing there, don't go away, don't bother me. He doesn't say that, but that's what he radiates. It's as John comes wandering in and starts talking to him.
You set me up. Not that I care. I don't care about much. War. Death. Wormholes. I don't care about the things you care about. Peacekeepers rule the Scarans. Scarans rule the peacekeepers. Let them roll together, put your ass in a cage. I care about one thing. God have mercy on my soul.
And Scorpius doesn't respond
at all. No.
Which I think is you say, I'm getting what I want.
Scorpius is sitting there like the angler at the edge of the pond when he's finally seeing his little bobber starting to move, and he's just don't move, don't
jinx it. Just let it happen.
Just let him rant, which he does.
Because John talks about the things that he cares about, and he admits to Scorpius the thing that
he's been so carefully trying to hide,
that he drugged himself to keep secret, that there is only one thing that he cares about.
And that is Aeryn, and that he is willing to give wormhole information to Scorpius in exchange for his help to go find Aeryn.
Aeryn for wormholes.
Yeah. God
damn me.
What he has said that he didn't want to happen, he goes in and says and makes happen. It's assuming that Scorpius knows where Katratzi is, which... It's interesting that we didn't see any segment before about him trying to get that information from Scorpius. At least an exchange hey, do you know where this is? It's you're
maybe no.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Yes, nothing like that. It's wonder if that's a deleted scene.
Oh yeah, if that's among the 200 discarded pages.
I know, right? There's this where he's trying to get that information out of Scorpius. So.
Oh, yeah, fascinating.
And after he makes the deal with the devil, or at least we assume he makes a deal, because Scorpius doesn't say a word. I think he doesn't accept the deal, does he? Do we? We just
No, I don't think we see it.
No, I don't think he does.
I think John even sort of walks out.
Yeah, but Scorpius just kind of rises up.
Yeah, opportunity knocks.
Oh, well now, hello. So.
Okay, now we're going to have to do actually the thing that you sort of planned to do.
She gives me a woody.
Yes.
She gives you the willies.
This was a really good idea, by the way. I was worried that there wouldn't be a way to really discuss this episode, but you're completely right.
Okay, so
now you've got to pick favorites.
Now I need to pick favorites. Okay, willies. There was I didn't like the bishop, but it was kind of set up for that, especially to any. I think my willy is gonna have to go to John losing it towards Sikozu.
That was difficult to.
Yeah, that was don't do that. Yeah. I'd say that's definitely my Willy moment for this episode.
I'm actually going to join you, because this is like John in the bad old days. This was like obsessive Moya John.
Yes.
Back once again with a vengeance. Failing to communicate, like being actually abusive towards people who are trying to help him, which, people in emotional distress can't always help themselves. But yeah, I agree with that.
And, well, let's see, Woody's. Oh, that's going to be much trickier.
Do you want to go with one of the characters' stories? Like, did you like the Chiana parts, the Dargo parts?
That's a very good
Noranti?
point. I mean, Noranti was hilarious, but
she always is.
Very short-lived.
She's very long-lived, actually. She's over 300
Well, okay,
cycles.
yes. Very good. Thank you. So, no, I think maybe Chiana? Chiana was a lot of fun. It was just, in a lot of ways, she got a very interesting arc. A little bit naive at some points, but also very insightful in others. So
I think maybe guileless more than naive. Like, she just wasn't interested in faking anything or manipulating anything. She was just straight up experiencing.
Having fun and
showing real curiosity, bonding with people.
No. It's definitely going to have to be Bobby pestering Dargo. and getting finally wearing down his parental defenses and tongue whipping him. No, that's definitely it.
The teenage boy falls to the ground and Dargo goes, oh, Frel. How did I just...
Where's Noranti?
I need an adult.
Yes, no, that's definitely correct.
I think my Woody is going to go to David Kemper for just the sheer unadulterated chutzpah to do something like this.
Right, because the story in the episode is like you said, you narrated it in 5 seconds at the beginning.
Shorter than even any of the other synopses.
And that's all of it, and then drag that out to an entire hour full of...
and the rest is just... fan fiction? No, that's not it, but speculative. That's what it is. It's speculative about what might have happened, what could have happened, what would have happened.
How much of this footage was reshot? And how much was already lying around?
Okay, so it was already planned. This is one of the longest shoots in terms of a calendar, because some scenes were shot in June, some in July, some in August, as sets became available.
Okay.
Actually, some of these scenes were the last ones shot in season 4.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Chiana's scene in the bathroom with the makeup and Olivia and John. Olivia and John. I'm now thinking about Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really stretched out.
Okay.
Because they'd done that before. There were scenes with Zan where, let me see, does she reappear? Oh yes. Her scenes for Unrealized Reality, where she was a talking head, were shot during Don Quixote, where she made her appearance. So this whole season was a
jumble of stuff that they
had
lying on, what they still had lying on the shelf. But that was,
so no, it wasn't just lying around. It was filmed specifically for this.
Right. While they were shooting that episode, they went okay, they already knew that they were going to do this.
We had these suburb sets.
Yeah. They weren't. They weren't Battlestar Galactica-ing it and making it up as they were going along. They actually had it planned out ahead a little bit further.
A bit, but within a season, you have to sort of...
You kind of have to do that.
I mean, this is the Australian style of making television, something that they originally tried with the first few episodes of season 1 to sort of essentially film 3 episodes at once.
Yeah. And then move on to the next block. And
turned out not to work very well for them. You do that every now and again.
Yep.
But yeah, so my Woody goes to just this bonkers structure. This is Farscape, man. It's just willing to do this, and I love it.
It did throw me completely for okay, that was an episode. It's and I guess more talking about it made me appreciate it more than it did right after watching it.
I'm so glad you say it. That was just about everyone's experience. Everyone goes, whoa, we're in the last fifth of the season, and we're just sort of treading water in place. We're not moving forward. And then people started talking about it with each other on the forums and the message boards. I'm holy hell, this is amazing.
Yep. Yeah, great episode.
And that's the story so far, Farscape.
Thank you. And please join us next week for another episode of Tales of the Tormented Space. And after that, something went wrong here. Damn it.
Oh, it's not just me then.
No, it's working now. Hang on, sorry.
Hooray!
And after that, episode 418, Prayer.
Yes.
In which John and Scorpius visit the unrealized Moya for information on Katratzi. Wow. Hey, that... We just talked about that. While Aeryn Sun is tortured and interrogated by her Scarran captors. Ooh.
Yeah, I've kind of made a decision. I went over all the synopses, the clever synopses, and I thought about like removing some, making some vaguer. But this is the stuff that we were seeing in the TV guides as it was coming out.
Fair.
This is the stuff that we were looking forward to and seeing trailers for.
Yeah.
And I really want to share
that's
the experience with you.
This is going to be fun.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Thank you for joining us.
You can find us at Farscape on Facebook and Twitter. If our social media manager starts doing his job again, I'm so very, very sorry. But we love you all. Thank you again to our supporters on Patreon, of which we still have so many, and you guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you for your suggestions for synopses and fanfictions as well. We have in a couple of weeks we have a suggested fanfic coming up again. If you want to submit your own, there's still a few episodes left to go for fanfics or synopses. Or you want to join the ranks of our Patreon supporters who've helped us with the equipment that has made all this possible, you can find all that at sofarscape.com/links. I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay.
So Farscape, so good.